the state police have strongly communicated that our academy facilities are aging, and the ability to train efficiently, effectively, and with the modern needs that we have with our law enforcement, with the current facilities. What's your understanding? Obviously, I had some questioning for them as well this past week, but what's your understanding of the capital requests for that, the needs, your current conversations with them on these needs, timelines, anything you can offer as far as those facilities?
Sure. So I had the good fortune to be able to spend a day with the state police out at the police academy about, 3-4 months ago. In order to receive a presentation from the planning firm that they had hired with our assistance in order to develop a plan for what the new campus ought to look like. And I was very pleased that I got to go out there and actually see it in person, because frankly, I'm absolutely convinced that they need a new facility. The conditions in the barracks out there and in the facility really are such that I think the need is pretty urgent. I do agree with the commissioner. This goes back to the question I responded to from Representative Grove. I think that there's an opportunity and a need for us to expand the number of capital projects. We work day in and day out with each of the agencies in order to prioritize and reprioritize projects based on what their most urgent needs look like. We try to manage all of the agencies under the governor's jurisdiction to within a total release number annually that I believe is in the neighborhood of $200 million, which sounds like a lot of money, but it disappears fast when you consider that the initial estimate that we were given on the new State Police Academy was more than that for just one project. So we have to work with them to value engineer that approach to figure out the most cost-effective way to meet their needs. But I can tell you that the commissioners made it clear it's a big priority for them, and I know that we're supportive at DGS, and I anticipate that we'll continue to work together here over the course of the next year and probably have a project in design before long.
Okay, so just to confirm, you pretty much are still, you're understanding the need, but you're still in those beginning conversations of the next steps that we go to as far as the financial ability to cover some of this.
The challenge is that represents a very large capital project that is competing for limited capital resources with a handful of other very large capital projects that are already underway, as well as 100 small to medium-sized capital projects.
So do you see this, I'm assuming, more of a timeline in phases, and a timeline of maybe a first phase being completed? Can you give any time on that?
So off the top of my head, I cannot, but I'd be more than happy to follow up with our most recent communications with state police around what that timeline, what we think that timeline could look like.
I know it's difficult, just trying to get a better feel to exactly the communications that's happening between all the agencies and you know, what the thought process is about moving forward to make sure we can get these cadet classes through efficiently and to be the best trained. The second question I have for you is, there has been conversations about the savings or cost initiatives that for savings that would be purchasing versus leasing of properties, especially within the PSP facilities. Do you have any thoughts on that, especially as we're looking for new dollars, as you mentioned?
Yeah, so I do have some thoughts on that. I'm not sure you have time. Generally speaking, it is in the Commonwealth's best interest to build the facilities that we need if we intend to be in those facilities for an extended period of time. A good case in point, or what proves my point, I think, is the Forum building right here in the Capitol complex. So that building, as you may know, has sat largely vacant for more than 20 years. And while that building has sat vacant, we have been leasing more than an equivalent number of square feet at a higher cost around it in Harrisburg. So one of the big projects that we are, we just are in the process of awarding now is finally the renovation of the Forum building, so that we can bring so that we can reduce our costs in the long term by bringing those employees back into facilities that we already own. When we have an urgent need, and state police is a good case in point, they have found that because of the way we manage capital projects, and because of the availability of operating dollars as opposed to capital dollars, they have found it at times more efficient to go through the leasing route to have a facility built to suit them so that they can then lease it over the long term. One of the things we are looking to add through real estate modernization would be the ability then to buy a property at the end of a lease, so that we could at least recoup some of the value when we choose to do that in order to be more expedient. I would certainly love for the General Assembly to give us that authority, because I think that tool in our toolbox would be really helpful.
Thank you so much. I know we're out of time, but again, a big subject that I think warrants further conversation.